What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? We're back at it again with another video here of the Arizona Sports Fan Live Edition. How's everybody doing out here? What's going on, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic Tuesday afternoon. I'm pretty sure some of you are working. I'm pretty sure some of you are probably at school at this very moment, but we're here to talk some Arizona Cardinals, everybody. And it's the big question that a lot of people want to ask right now. Are the Arizona Cardinals for real? Now, obviously, if we're taking a look at both of these games so far that we've seen a tale of two different stories so far. So we're going to dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to hear from you guys and what you guys feel about this Arizona Cardinal team. Before we get started, let's go ahead and do our quick due diligence. Smack the like button on this video. It helps the channel grow out tremendously. And this is your first time here, subscribe to the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. We're trying to get to 10K, and I can't do it without you guys. Definitely go ahead and subscribe and smack that like button. We're just going to do a real quick abbreviated show today. Don't have very much time, just a 30-minute show, but I think there's a lot of national media. I think there's a lot of, Arizona Cardinal fans right now asking this question right now. Are the Arizona Cardinals for real? Now, obviously, when we got off week 1 against the Kansas City Chiefs, nobody was talking about the Arizona Cardinals, right? It made sense because the Arizona Cardinals got obliterated. Like on week 1 versus the Chiefs, we shouldn't have been talked about, and it's rightfully so. Now, the way that game ended 44-21, that score already seemed a lot closer than it actually should have been. That game was rough, and I'm so glad that we finally are out of that whole, scenario of possibly it was because the Arizona Cardinals didn't play players in preseason. Now, if you guys hold that much weight, definitely let me know in the comments and how you're feeling about should the Arizona Cardinals start playing players in preseason. Let me know in the comments, because we've seen Kansas City Chiefs, right? We've seen the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs looking the way that they did, and they looked flawless against this Arizona Cardinal team, and they played preseason that they did. Now, the Arizona Cardinals didn't. Now, there might have been some sort of buffer. There might have been some sort of time where they probably needed to get a lot more reps, especially those live game time reps. Now, let's move on over to the Raiders game, right? The Raiders game came out, and honestly, I'm not sure if you guys were in the same boat, but this game was so hard to watch. It was so hard to watch as an Arizona Cardinal fan because it gave us PTSD of what happened last year, right? Throughout the entirety of the last part of last year, where like the collapse happened, as well as, in the playoffs for the Arizona Cardinals, we looked bad. We looked abysmal. We looked absolutely garbage. And this will kind of look the same way, right? At least in the second or the first half of that Raiders game. Now, I'm so glad we went into the locker room and made some adjustments, because I can't be sitting here with this awesome chain of the Arizona Cardinals if we didn't. Because if we were going to go 0-2 in this tough division that's already kind of really competitive as is, I don't know my level of, I guess, confidence in this team would have been until we made that miraculous comeback with Kyler Murray. Now, the biggest question out there, right? Are the Arizona Cardinals for real? Now, let me preface by saying this here real quick. It is pretty early to tell, right? It's only 2 games. We've seen a team right now, a Dr. Jekyll and Miss Hyde type of thing, where we looked really good in the second half of the Raiders game, but we looked really bad for 6 quarters of the 2022 season in the regular season. We looked really bad for 6 quarters of a 2022 season, but that last 2 quarters of the Raiders game, we were looking like we finally figured it out, right? Like we finally remembered that we had Zach Ertz. Like we finally remembered that, Kyler Murray is as explosive as he is, right? It's like we forgot these things. And in the second half of the Raiders versus Cardinals game, we held that Arizona or that Raiders team until what was it, 3 points in that first or in that full second half? Like it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy to see it. By the time we were coming into the half, it was 20-0. And there was a lot of fans that were already writing off this Arizona Cardinal team, me included. I was one of those fans that I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, we're supposed to be a playoff team this year, and we're looking absolutely terrible. Now, like I said a little earlier, whatever the heck happened in that locker room, it worked out, right? Whether it was a light bulb from Cliff Kingsbury, whether it was Kyler Murray really owning this locker room, whatever happened, we need more of that, because the Arizona Cardinals looked exactly like I wanted them to look in the second half of the Raiders game. We started to get more people involved. We started to finally get the ball over to Zach Ertz. Now, the unfortunate part is that James Conner did go down during that game, right? That's the unfortunate part, that James Conner went down. Now, I'm not sure if you guys saw the latest report of James Conner. It looks like he's day-to-day right now in terms of what Cliff Kingsbury said about James Conner, but it looks like we most likely will have him. Now, tread lightly on the most likely. Now, the reason why I say most likely is because I believe that if they absolutely needed James Conner in the Raiders game, he would have been put in there. But I think because of the production of Eno Benjamin, the production of Darrell Williams, we didn't really have to worry about James Conner and forcing him back in there. So I'm being very optimistic when I say we most likely will see James Conner in the game versus the Rams, because I think it's all hands on deck and we really absolutely would love to see James Conner there, right? I think it was minor compared to what it could have been. So I think James Conner is going to be playing versus the Rams, fingers crossed. But going back to like our offense and how we actually looked, Kyler Murray reminded people, and I'm not talking about Cardinal fans, Kyler Murray reminded people of how explosive he can become and how explosive he can be. Twitter's a crazy world. And if you find yourself on Twitter during the game, you're going to find yourself on a mix of emotions, because literally it was, this team absolutely sucks. What the heck is going on? And then 1 minute, 5 minutes, left in the third quarter, the Arizona Cardinals finally started to do some things. And granted, was it too late? No, it wasn't, because the Arizona Cardinals did something magical, right? They ended up coming back. They converted two two-point conversions in order for us to force overtime. And everything just worked out really perfectly for the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm glad that now we're starting to kind of get into the national people's eyes again. Like, it's not that I'm glad, but I like the respect, right? I like the respect that it comes because Kyler Murray is explosive as he could become. Like, this is only like the bare minimum of what it is. If Kyler Murray can stay healthy throughout this year, and if he gives us that level of production this whole year, man, we'll have to kind of wait and see, because we got the offense, y'all. We got the pieces. We got it. It's just, can Cliff Kingsbury stay out of the way? That's what I'm going to put on this, right? I know there's some people saying that, Cliff Kingsbury did a really good job of adjusting. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can put this on Cliff Kingsbury, but I would rather put my eggs in the basket of Kyler Murray just unlocked his God mode. I think Kyler Murray, this win was on Kyler Murray. His moves and everything he did, all the roll out of the pockets, everything that he did to make everything happen. There was a play that took like 20 seconds. And Kyler Murray wasn't touched because of how explosive he is. So I don't really put this win on Cliff. Yeah, I guess we can give him a little credit, but this is all on Kyler, in my personal opinion. This is Kyler Murray. Prime Kyler Murray is what we saw today. So how good can we become? How real is this team? I think this team is as real as, can that defense figure out how to stop the run and how to prevent long drives, and then this team can be ultra competitive. I'm not really worried about our offense. I think we have the pieces. We just need to put it together, right? We needed to get the reps out there, and I think it showed in the second half of the Raiders game. Now, we have been victims, right? We have been victims of, are we going to see this again? I don't know. We'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. But I'm not really worried about the offense. Once we get D-Hop back, if Rondale Moore does decide to come back from his, not decide, but when he does come back, we'll have to kind of wait and see how this offense looks, because the only person that really has a reliable job, I think in the eyes of the wide receiving core, is going to be Marquise Hollywood Brown. And I would love Greg Dortch to get the slot position. I think he's done a very good job, honestly. I think he's done great in the opportunities that he's had. So I'm not worried about the offense, but this team can equally be as explosive. And this can answer the question as, are we a real team, or are we for real? I just think that defense needs to figure it out. We need to get off the field. We cannot be sitting in a first drive, having the opposing offense take 9 minutes off the first quarter. It just can't happen. It can't happen at all. Now, we got some glowing grace. Hopefully, the light at the end of the tunnel is, I believe, Trayvon Mullen is going to be able to play today, or I'm sorry, next week in week 3 versus the Rams. I'm hoping Trayvon Mullen's going to be able to go. So that's kind of what a lot of Arizona Cardinal fans are placing their eggs in this basket of Trayvon Mullen's going to be able to shake out for the Arizona Cardinals, right? Fingers crossed. Now, J.J. Watt coming back was huge. I believe he only got 1 sack, but man, having J.J. Watt's presence in that defensive line, I believe was absolutely huge and imperative for this Arizona Cardinal team. He got 1 sack, but man, he was out there. And you know that J.J. Watt's presence was out there. For sure. We got some people in the chat saying, it's our year, Westside Bird Gang. Love it. I love the optimism. I still do think that this division is open. So to answer the question, are we for real? I think we are. I think we are. As long as we can continue to see that second half offense, not forgetting that Zach Ertz is here. That's the big problem. Zach Ertz is probably one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Top 5, top 4, top 3, however you want to place him. Zach Ertz is that guy. We cannot forget that he's there as a safety blanket for Kyler Murray. And I really do believe that when he got upset and he voiced his opinion, Kyler Murray's radar went off. Oh, I got to get the ball over to him. I do honestly believe it. So Zach Ertz needs to continue to get involved. Our run game needs to continue to do what they do. James Conner missing, that sucks. I love James Conner and what he can do, but I do have all the confidence in the world if he needs one more week that Darrell Williams and Eno Benjamin will be able to take care of what we need to take care of for at least for this 1 week. Because I love what I've seen out of them. Our wide receivers right now are a little iffy, right? AJ Green had a really good catch at the end of the end zone with the 2-point conversion. That was magnificent. But let's be honest, AJ Green has caused us a little heartache, a lot of hair pulling out. So we'll have to kind of wait to see how it all shakes out when DeAndre Hopkins comes back and then Rondale Moore. Because my ideal offense, in terms of what I want our offense to look like, is obviously it's going to be Zach Ertz and tight end, James Conner in terms of our number 1 running back, and in terms of our wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Hollywood Brown, and Greg Dortch. That would be my ideal top 3. And I know there's some people that don't like it because they want Rondale Moore to be that number 3 guy. And I like Rondale Moore. I really do. I want him to succeed. The problem with me right now is that I've seen what Greg Dortch already is. I've seen that this man can ball. I've seen that you give this man an opportunity, he won't let it go. And I would hate for him to get benched because Rondale Moore is coming back. We've seen what Greg Dortch can do. This man deserves to be the man in the slot. And if you want to do a swing, that's fine. 60-40. Give Dortch to 60, give 40 to Rondale Moore. If you do a 4 wide receiver set, put Rondale Moore in there. I want him to succeed. But I do not, at least at this very moment, I don't feel comfortable with not putting Greg Dortch out there. Greg Dortch's production has absolutely been amazing for this Cardinal team. This last week, 4 receptions, 55 yards, 1 touchdown. Against the Chiefs, he led this team in receptions for the Arizona Cardinals. Although our team looked absolutely garbage, versus the Chiefs, he led the team in receptions. 7 receptions, 63 yards. Greg Dortch is that guy. Trust me when I say Greg Dortch, and I'm not trying to bag on Rondale Moore, right? That's not my thing here. I want to put the best 11 people on the field, and to me right now, I've seen what Greg Dortch can do. This man can ball. He can ball. Trust me when I say this. He's got the opportunity. He won't let it go. The other person that's going to tell him, no, you can't, is Cliff Kingsbury for not putting him on the field. And I want to put this voice out there because I know I'm in this corner. I got this guy. He's going to be that dude. Just give him the opportunity. I want him to be the primary slot guy. And like I said a little earlier, even if we need to do, a split, that's fine with me. But 60-40. I want more Greg Dortch than I do want Rondale Moore. Until Rondale Moore can prove that he can stay healthy throughout the entirety of a year and show the explosiveness that we've seen from Greg Dortch, I just don't have all the confidence. Give me Greg Dortch. That's what I want this ideal offense to be. And I know it's not, it's not ideal for a lot of people because they see Rondale Moore and they see the upside. But if you really ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, really ask yourself this question. Are you saying he's got a higher upside because he's a second round pick? Or why are you saying he's got a higher upside? Is it because Greg Dortch has made it through 4 or 5 different teams? Is that why you're saying he's got the higher upside? With what I've seen with my eyes so far in this regular season and preseason, I've seen a lot more Greg Dortch than I have seen of Rondale Moore since his career has started, which granted it's only been 1 year because he was drafted last year. I've already seen it. I'm bought. I'm sold. This guy can be that guy. He can become that guy. We just need to give him the opportunity and allow him to be that guy. So I'm not gonna have a back and forth with somebody saying Rondale Moore has a higher ceiling, because already in 2 games in a regular season from Greg Dortch, already 50 plus yards on both games, 1 touchdown, already over 100 yards in 2 games and a touchdown. Give this guy the 15 more games of the regular season. You'll be surprised at what he can do for us. Trust me. Trust me when I say that. And it's not bagging on Rondale Moore. I just really want the best people on the field so Kyler Murray can get the ball to them. That's all I want. That's all I want. Let's take it to the comments here. Let's see what you guys have to say. We got my guy over here. My fave text says 1,000%. I'm hoping you mean you're talking about Greg Dortch. I hope so. We got LJB says, but Dortch is a beast. I agree. Dortch is a dog. Yeah, 100%. 100%. What I want is the reliability. I want the guy that's going to be able to be here throughout the entirety of the season. I can't depend on a guy that's going to give me production for 2 or 3 games and get hurt. Now, it's not his fault that he's hurt, right? I'm not saying that it's his fault that he got hurt, but I need somebody that's going to be able to be here for every single game so the chemistry doesn't mess up. And that to me right now is Greg Dortch. He's just that guy. Trust me when I say this. We've been raving about Greg Dortch since the offseason. Look back on my videos. I have a video called Greg Dortch, the next rising star. Because I know that he was going to thrive in this offense when he got the opportunity. He was with us last year. I didn't talk about him because I didn't think he was going to be in this roster. But now that it has opened up for him to come in here, just allow him. Allow him. And then the rest is going to kind of unfold. Let's get to Drew. Drew says Dortch hasn't given Cliff a reason to bench him. It's Dortch's spot to lose. I love it. I love it. Well, I hope me and you, Drew, me or you are the same wavelength. I hope and pray that Cliff Kingsbury has that same mindset. I hope and pray that he has that same mindset, because you're right. He hasn't done anything to lose this job. He's done everything that he needed to do. And in the Kansas City Chief game, there was an opportunity for him to get an additional 10 to 15 yards. Unfortunately, he ended up slipping, and when Kyler Murray looked his way, he had to come around this way because he wasn't ready for the ball. He ended up slipping, right? It happens. But Greg Dortch could have easily had 75 yards in game 1. And in this game, a touchdown. This last game against the Raiders. He's that guy. Trust me. Don't fall in love with the high round pick. I love Rondale Moore too, and what the possibility of what he can become. But the thing is that what we know, Greg Dortch is that guy and should be the guy in the slot. Should be. Carlos says, if Greg Dortch is the guy, why did he go after Brown? Well, a few different reasons. That's a good question, Carlos. Biggest reason why is because there was so much beef between Kyler Murray and the Cardinals organization. Whether you want to believe that it's true or not, it's true. Kyler Murray didn't want to play another snap under his rookie deal. I believe in this year he would have made, $5 to $6 million. There was so much stuff in the background that a lot of people aren't privy to. And Kyler Murray wanted to get paid. He wanted to get his extension. And he was frustrated, feeling like he was the scapegoat of last year. What do you got to do to make your quarterback happy? You got to get that wide receiver that he wanted in the draft, and that is Marquise Hollywood Brown. I'm not saying that Greg Dortch is a number one. I'm not saying Greg Dortch is a number two. I'm saying Greg Dortch is the number 3 wide receiver that is going to be able to excel this offense. The moment we get DeAndre Hopkins and then have Marquise Hollywood Brown on the other side, Greg Dortch is going to be the slot guy for you that's going to be able to get you those yards. That's what I'm saying, right? Let me clarify here to what I'm saying. Not saying he's the number one, not saying he's the number two, but the slot receiver that he is, and he's going to do a fantastic job at it. The Arizona Cardinals are for real. As long as we continue to do what we saw in the Raiders game in the second half, continue to do that, and don't forget you have Zach Ertz, man, this offense is going to be that darn good. Trust me. We got Pat Bush up in here says, no DC is preparing for Dortch yet. Exactly. He's the hidden gem. And that's the best thing that's coming to our favor in terms of Arizona Cardinal fans. Nobody knows about him. Everybody knows about his struggle and staying on a roster, but I don't think it's because of him not doing well. It's just landing on specific teams, not getting the opportunity. Now that he got it, people are starting to see what Greg Dortch can do. Kyle up in here saying, what's the status of Wesley? Right now, Wesley, I believe he's an IR, right? So, yeah, I think Wesley is on IR at this very moment, so he has to miss at least 4 games. So, don't even think about Wesley until after week 4. Until after week 4, we can start talking about Wesley. Because I think in the grand scheme of things for Wesley, he's going to fall victim to the wide receivers that we have. We got the wide receivers. Wesley literally is the guy if DeAndre Hopkins isn't there. So we might see him in week 5 or week 6. But if our wide receivers are gelling, he might not get an opportunity. So yeah, that's a good call out. Right now, I don't think anybody have to kind of really worry about Wesley at this very moment. He's not going to be here for at least until after week 4, at least. And then we'll kind of have to see how that goes. We got my guy, L Raider. What's up, L Raider? Appreciate you for being here. He's calling somebody. He says, you're delusional. Y'all just paid Murray. Hop is making 27, and then Adams is making 29. You'll be able to find both. Raiders will not trade for Adams. Oh, somebody say trade for Adams? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. That's definitely not going to happen. I think there was this thing going around in the offseason saying the Arizona Cardinals should get CeeDee Lamb. Guys, be realistic here. Like, our offense is loaded. You know what I mean? Our offense is loaded, and there's still people that need to get paid. So, realistically here for this Arizona Cardinal team, realistically, we just need to continue to do what we did in the second half versus the Raiders. That's all we need to do. We can't forget that Zach Ertz is that guy for us. We can't forget it. We are for real. And I'm not trying to be a homer here. This Arizona Cardinal team has the pieces for us to compete in the West. If we can continue to do what we did in the second half versus the Raiders, man, sky's the limit for this offense. We just need to make sure that defense wakes up. That defense, J.J. Watt needs to get with, Vance Joseph. J.J. Watt needs to get in these people's faces and say, hey, man, we need to wake up. The defense is the missing piece right now. The defense, although, yes, they did us a huge solid. They did us a huge solid. But the defense needs to kind of wake up and not have 9-minute drives in the first drive. They just need to wake up. I'm hopeful Trayvon Mullen's going to come back. I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed. J.J. Watt's back. We already saw the presence of what he can become. Zach Allen, right? There's promise. There's opportunity for him to be that guy. We'll have to kind of wait and see. Now, to be honest with you guys, and the reason why I'm talking about this real quick is because I saw somebody on the chat say Trey McBride. So we didn't have a first round pick technically, right? It was Marquise Hollywood Brown. Like, we didn't have one technically. But Trey McBride being the second rounder, man, I don't know. People are already starting to kind of, go back on that one. Maybe that wasn't the right pick. We'll talk about the draft later on, man. We still got a lot of football to talk about here. Nate says this defense will age like wine. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, that can go either way, right? Age wine is good. Maybe it's not good. I'm not quite 100% sure the reference there, but the defense needs to get it together. It's just straight facts. 9-minute drives aren't okay. We can't allow our offense that's feeling themselves, that's willing to get onto this field. We can't allow them to do 9-minute drives. Vance Joseph needs to wake this team up. J.J. Watt needs to be that leader for us. Buda Baker needs to be the leader for the people in the secondary. So the moment DeAndre Hopkins comes back, we got 4 more games, and it seems so far away. We got the Rams. We got the Panthers. We got the Eagles, and then we got the Seahawks. 4 more games, ladies and gentlemen. Then we can see our offense unlocked with DeAndre Hopkins. We still don't know what our offense is going to look like. DeAndre Hopkins, as well as, having Marquise Hollywood Brown. We still don't know what it's going to look like. I'm excited. That's my ideal wide receiver 3, like 3 wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Hollywood Brown, and Greg Dortch. Those are my top 3 wide receivers that we need to continue to use out on this field. Those 3. And then you can swing, Rondale Moore once he gets healthy. If you want to swing him into the slot every once in a while, give some rest to Greg Dortch. I'm cool with that. But those are my top 3 wide receivers that I feel like once DeAndre Hopkins comes back, that's what we should be rolling with. D-Hop, Marquise Hollywood Brown, and Greg Dortch. What's up, Bass? Bass up in the house. He says, Ertz is becoming that reliable target like Fitz was for us. What's up, Mike? What's going on, man? Appreciate you for being here. Yeah, that's the biggest thing we need to remember. The biggest thing this Arizona Cardinal offense needs to remember. Don't forget about Ertz. You get Ertz involved in this offense, this is going to be an explosive offense. And the reason why I said don't forget about Ertz, because as you already noticed, the moment we got Ertz involved, being that safety blanket for Kyler Murray, it opened everything up for us. Chucking the ball deep to Marquise Hollywood Brown, getting our run game going with Darrell Williams and Eno Benjamin when James Conner's down. Everybody was able to get more open. Now, AJ Green on the other hand, right? He made a fantastic catch for the Arizona Cardinals and get the 2-point conversion. But AJ Green has had some drops, some crucial drops too. We just need to get it. We need to get it fixed. And yes, I do believe we're for real. I want to hear your guys' prediction because I'm going to be releasing my Arizona Cardinals versus LA Rams prediction, or not prediction, but preview tomorrow. What do you guys feel like is going to happen? Arizona Cardinals versus Rams. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this. Do I believe this Arizona Cardinal team is for real? 110%. As long as we don't forget about Zach Ertz. If we don't forget about him, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. But we should also say this as well. This is the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with because I'm only doing a small abbreviated stream today. The last thing I'm going to leave you guys with, just because we won the Raiders game, should not take Steve Keim off this hot seat. I know he's got a 5-year extension, but this should not take Steve Keim off the hot seat. If this season ends up going south for the Arizona Cardinals, we continue to pick it. We continue to hashtag. We continue to voice our opinions. Even when we have bad seasons, I encourage you guys, Bird Gang, to come onto these streams and give one message out there, one voice, because we're a lot better. We're a lot better when we're together, ladies and gentlemen. We're a lot better when we're together. Trust me when I say this. This win should not alleviate Steve Keim from being on the hot seat. Contract extension or not. Let me know how you guys are feeling about these daytime live streams. I'm thinking about it doing a lot more, but obviously we need to get through the bumps and bruises of, my personal life and how I can go ahead and just, get this all to shake out. But let me know everything in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to see some predictions on Rams versus Cardinals week 3 matchup. Are the Arizona Cardinals for real? Yes, we are. We just can't forget about Zach Ertz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everyone for coming through. This was just a small abbreviated stream today, just talking everything Arizona Cardinals. I appreciate everybody for coming through. This has been an absolute pleasure. Shout out to everybody that's in the stream. We got King J Rock, we got Arizona Cardinals, Jonathan, Kiro, L Raiders, Carlos, Robert G, Orlando, Roy, Overload. Everybody's up in the chat today. Appreciate everybody for coming through. As always, have a great rest of your day and go Cards.